Hello and welcome back to the Query Helpline with Patrick Hopkins, hosted by me, Morgan Hazelwood. We love rewriting other people's queries. It's 100%, a billion percent easier than our own, as evidenced by this last week. um, and yeah, so we're back to share some more.
Okay, we're gonna do that. And I've probably said that we're not gonna do a query immediately because that would be too easy. That would be comforting. That would.
What are we starting with?
We have two synopses in a row, which is like
Okay.
83 kinds of death. But all right, that's.
If you send me the link, I'll go ahead and open it up.
Didn't I already give you the? I'll get to you.
No.
Whatever. I'll do it in 1 second. Super professional looking.
You're so pro.
Yes, that's the. It's not a GoPro, it's a Went Pro.
So you should be getting an access request email.
Did I not get? I thought I. Hold on. I'll just do it this way. That's wow. I didn't. Okay, that's good. All right, there we go, and there we go.
Okay, sweet.
Just easier this way.
Look at that! I hit Control F5, and
we're just F5. Yeah.
Ooh, we're starting where we stopped last time. This looks familiar.
This is the only thing we had left. Yeah.
I actually did a draft myself. I didn't do the full thing. I mean, I'm not you, but I did do an updated draft. I don't know if she rolled with it or not.
We have a day, so
yeah, let me go ahead and share my window.
Okay.
And we'll get started. So let's get a little bigger font here.
Is that not a...
There we go. Now people can see.
Oh, that's you on your screen.
Oh, actually, that's another way of like letting people see while we can still actually see the sidebar.
Yeah. What did you just do? Oh, that's fine. Okay.
I changed the font size.
Yeah, that you did that. That's certainly changed. Change risky. But
now we can see the full sidebar.
That is change.
Do you not like it? I can undo it.
Do I like any change?
No, you're not really a change.
Do what you want to do. I can do it, whatever. It's just going to give me a false sense of length. But this thing is like 4 something, so I think we're okay.
So I'll go ahead and read it for those listening instead of watching at home. Alice Doling's ancestral estate, Greer Grange, is careening towards bankruptcy. Despite her and her father's efforts, nothing seems to improve. When the village midsummer ball comes around, Alice jumps at the chance to distract herself from their financial problems. Unfortunately, Sir Albert Bendrake, the new baronet of East Nor Castle, is out of mourning and attends the ball as his first social event since returning to the village after 10 years' absence. He immediately recognized Alice as the bully who preyed on him when he was merely the son of the village drunk, who tormented his days by tricks and taunts. Alice does not recognize her old victim, the now dashing, rich, and wildly handsome baronet, and attempts to strike up a conversation with him in hopes to join him and her father in business. But he rebuffs her attempts, refusing to even dance with her until she leaves the assembly room in tears. By the end of the month, the unthinkable has occurred. The bank forecloses on Greer Grange, and Alice's family is now penniless and homeless. She sends her younger sisters to relatives, uses her dowry to rent a cottage for her father, and finds employment as a lady's companion to Mrs. Pendrake. This unfortunately means she will live under the same roof as Albert, who is absolutely gleeful to find his former tormentor experiencing life at the bottom of the social pile for a change. But as summer ends, Albert finds she is nothing like he remembers. He finds employment for her family's former servants before the foreclosure. She defends laborers from docked wages from Greer Grange's harsh new master. She joins him at the workhouse to learn about child labor problems. She teaches Albert estate management in between her embroidery sessions with his mother. Alice is loyal, dutiful, and lovely. And she's gorgeous. Alice can hardly look at Albert, even when she helps him embark on a new industry to bring much needed jobs and commerce to the village. First, he's madly handsome, and secondly, she's ashamed of how she treated him when they were children. Thirdly, he has bright dreams of magistracy and perhaps a career in politics to create reform for the regular man. He could never desire her, but then, hidden in a hedge maze, they kiss. And even though none of it makes sense with their past history, neither is willing to part from the other. They refuse to talk of the past or the present. Mr. Blackburn, the tradesman who purchased Greer Grange, makes suggestive overtures to Alice as he joins Albert in his business of leather making. Alice wonders if she should break things off with Albert to free him to find a suitable bride to further his career, and if she should marry Blackburn to resume her role as mistress of Greer Grange to protect the unhappy tenants. Blackburn not only causes problems with his tenants, but with Albert also. He threatens to withdraw from the business agreement completely, leaving Albert unable to finish his project. An old friend discovers Albert and Alice's secret and threatens to destroy Alice's reputation. Alice realizes she has to make a decision now, even though Albert is out of town on business. She pens a letter to Albert admitting her love for him and apologizing for the pain she always seems to cause him, and then walks to Greer Grange to propose marriage to Blackburn. Blackburn, however, laughs in her face. He's not interested in a wife, but a mistress. He'll gladly take Alice on as a mistress. Meanwhile, Albert returns from business armed with contracts and a legal defense. He reads Alice's letter on his way to Greer Grange. Deeply upset, Albert meets Blackburn and is surprised to see Alice there. He convinces Blackburn to become a silent partner in the business, as well as leave Greer Grange in peace. As he leaves, he wishes Alice and Blackburn well on their marriage. Blackburn corrects him, then taunts Albert and his lack of business experience by using similar taunts Alice herself used as a child. Alice, furious, rises to Albert's defense and storms out of the manor with Albert. Albert, dazed and pleased at a defense he never expected nor received in his past, confronts Alice about the letter. She explains the threat to her reputation and he proposes marriage. They talk through their concerns and then she accepts. They marry just before Christmas and live happily ever after.
Five names in the first paragraph is sorry, that's the first two still. Yeah, this is only once, so
well, we don't need to capitalize father since it's a title, not a name. True. Yeah, we don't need the place.
It's only one reference. When it's one, you might as well be done. So.
Yeah.
Greer Grange, though, has 9 uses, which is irritating, but whatever.
I'm going to open up the version I ended up with just so I can.
Okay.
Not repeat work I already did. Because I didn't want them to have to wait if they were entering Pitch Wars, and I believe they were.
Well, they can still.
Trust me. I know. I have to finish mine one of these days. Maybe today. Probably today.
Mm-hmm. Like that. Can I please just say, when your verb is really talks, that's all you need to say. It's cute, yes. It gives some flavor, okay. It's also death on a stick to the word count. And look at how long that word is. Conversation. Look at the length there, okay? It's just death in terms of like number one, like for number two, pushing it up to the next line. You're gonna have a larger gap in the end of that line, and if you're trying to shave space to get a delete line, conversation is just a terrible word there. Let me actually do something. I'm gonna put that in my. All right, when I add that to my synopsis guide. Tries to interest you in others' business. I'm not sure that she's in that business because I'm not. The wording didn't suggest that, but I would think it would be. That's a question for the writer.
It's another working thing, but yeah.
Good call on deleting that because it's not unthinkable. It was in the opening. Careening toward bankruptcy. If it's careening toward bankruptcy and then you get a bankruptcy foreclosure, that's the process.
There we go. Active verb. Look at that.
Hooray!
I can learn. I can be taught.
That I would put Jer in there, but it's either way. It's not wrong.
I find the phrase Elburn's mother's companion, I don't know, almost clunkier.
Yeah, it is a little clunky.
Parse. So that's a stylistic decision.
If you can find a way to do it without doing all those prepositions, then go for it.
Yeah.
But I mean,
takes a job. The best. Who doesn't love a good prepositional phrase? Apparently, Patrick's.
You want to know why? Because it adds a preposition in an article, and that's space you don't need to use.
Do we need
See,
to
even the cat doesn't like it.
Can I make a list of 3 sentences?
You mean colon and then independent clause, semicolon, independent clause, seven?
No, I just want to put commas instead of she finds employment for them, she defends them, she joins him.
Jobs.
I just want a comma in. Oxford for life.
Yeah.
In case there was any question where I fell on that argument, there's never been a question.
Yes. Who is he? Oh, okay. I guess that's Albert.
Yeah.
You have to do that
We're
because.
putting the A names together. Albert and Alice, we're putting the A names together.
Unless that's wrong, I just this okay. So this is if we're gonna use it, I don't have a problem with that. But putting it down there is out of place.
Ow!
Unless the point is that okay, I guess that's not awful. Okay, you don't embark on a new industry. You don't. That's
nope. We've got a build.
Yeah.
A new leather making workshop.
There you go.
And I can even spell leather making.
Yay! Proof. Which.
Improve or yeah, I guess improve. Yeah, okay, there we go.
Did we just say that?
I stuck it in there.
Okay, that's.
This is a slightly different version than I'd worked over.
Okay. So we have to decide which of these.
Yeah.
We have two sort of plot progression themes here. Number one is him, and number two is
her.
Well, so we got the first, the second, the third, right? You put the first in there as a an adjective, which I think is fine. The second we can put it there as well as a sort of in a positive here. Whom she mistreated when they kids. But then we have this third one.
Say out of shame, because we already said that she was his bully.
So out of shame would be a prepositional phrase replacing a verb, which I have to just penalize you for even thinking. I mean, but the thing is, in synopses, the rules sort of die because whatever
What about she is ashamed to look at the handsome Albert?
Okay, do it. The rules for length sort of die in synopses. Because sometimes the verb actually takes more space. Usually it doesn't, but it sometimes does. So.
I want to put as instead of when because it's an ongoing thing, not a moment.
Yeah, you don't build a leather workshop in a day.
Unless there's some magic in the story that's more than just love. Did I make a gag?
Love.
I may have killed Patrick here, people.
At least you use a verb there. Dreams of action. What is that?
It's like a judge.
Okay.
Magistrate.
See, when I see that adjective phrase, I think they're going to find something, and they don't.
They find love for each other.
No, I'm saying that's set up.
Also, they're hidden from spying eyes.
as say blah blah blah. As they're hiding. There's no such thing as it's all the past. So just history. Just history. What's this? Oh, God.
Okay, this is a new paragraph. So let me make sure it's clear because it's a little hard to see here. I'm going to just tab lock this on editing real quick. Tools, format, text. Boom. There we go. And look at me remembering to switch back to suggesting like a pro.
Oh boy, you get all the gold stars tonight.
And that way we don't have the word past repeated in two back-to-back sentences.
Okay, this is just fluff.
We did mention the type of business, so we don't need to re-mention it. Or do we? I don't know. It's up to you.
I mean, it's been a bit. They were just hiding, and we just talked about his magistracy and his politics. So
and
I think that
it could have been a second business. There may have been multiple ones. So I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
Another,
if we ended up, and honestly, we don't even need making it. We use the leather. Because we've already established what he's doing with it, so you know the part of the process is involved. This is a standard. I got it. You cannot withdraw. There you go.
should we combine these sentences, but also threatens to?
If it works within the plot, then yeah, I can't tell. Another thing, we're having the writer along would help a lot. But
I did have a little back and forth with her, but yeah.
Okay.
So the greedy Blackburn raises the rent with his tenants and also threatens to withdraw from the business agreement, leaving Albert unable to finish his project.
If you have a way to shorten it, then do it.
The project? I mean, we've only talked about one. Yeah. So I took out the part about what Alice is debating because it comes up immediately in the next paragraph.
Okay.
And we wanted at the decision point, not she thinks the decision point might be coming. I'm waiting for Patrick to tell me I'm wrong. I love the word must in decision statements. They seem a little repetitive if you read them back to back, but they're strong and it's a great word.
Why are you hiding verbs everywhere? Damn it!
Who doesn't love a good verb?
Everybody, based on how many they are hidden.
I mean, very few. There are no sentences without verbs. There may be fragments surrounded by periods, but there are no sentences without verbs.
But okay. So have I explained to you why I think that people are awful at using verbs?
No, actually.
Okay, so you remember back in, let's say, first grade, writing in first grade?
Yes.
Write a sentence, write two sentences, write a whole paragraph.
Yes.
And you go from that to writing 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, a page, 1 page, 2 page, 5 pages, 5 pages, 10 to 20, 20 to 50, 50 to 100. At what point in there are you taught to write short?
Never.
It's all long modifiers.
Short And longer words are more complex and show that you're smarter.
And write long sentences, yes. At no point between when you're, say, 4 and 22 do you have a single lesson in how to write short.
Ooh. I
Yeah.
have had a few suggestions of if you're doing action or something that's really fast paced, shorter sentences read faster.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like Whitespace does. But because each line is punching you, you go across and you're punching it. When I was in college, I took a class where we had a word maximum. We had to summarize 3 graduate level chapters of linguistics in 800 words. Yeah, and like we're talking probably that much material in 800 words.
Oh, wow.
You don't have room for an example. You just have to
No.
concepts, and that's it. My first draft, I thought, and I'm pretty good at stuff at this point. I'm in my early 20s. So I'm pretty good at things. My first draft was 1,600 something words, and I'm like, So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna troll this guy. Because you've seen me write long. You've seen me write long. So I'm gonna infuse my verbs with all these adjective and prepositional phrases and such, and just use longer verbs so that I'm keeping it. I'm just going to go long. Well, I do that, and I'm also doing the same thing to nouns because I know you love nouns. I'm just doing these things to basically
I love persons, places, and things.
I'm using basically a polysynthetic approach in part, which is for you add parts to words to make them things. And my word count after that was like 816 or something. I'm like, okay, I'm trolling this guy. It's working, and I finally got it to work. And it's like at like 796 or something. But the trick was to just have every sentence be driven by a verb, and that was my introduction to verb. And now, so when I see this thing where someone's like, the pain she always seems to cause him, like, look at the length there. Okay, that's 2/3 of a line. Look at how we replace it here. Half a line. Because we go from pain as a noun and to cause, right, to the pain is the verb. Now, do we need to have her walking to Green Grange here to propose marriage, or can we just go asks?
Well, we need to explain why she's at Green Grange.
Okay.
And why she's there. So, I mean, we could always do and goes to, but I don't think that saves us anything.
Yeah. It might save a bit of a,
Although I'm slightly confused with the time period. Is this modern or is this back a while? I mean, she was doing
writing a letter? I would not think so.
Yeah.
Can you find out? Because this sounded to me like 1830s Britain.
Probably. That sounds right.
We might be getting a little away from the plot there, but it's really short. Okay.
What about he's interested in a mistress, not a wife?
But then we have this line here, and I infuse it in that one above.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah, I was going to trim it even more.
Oh, okay.
Instead of her being his in a mistress, not a wife.
But then we don't have the sense that Alice is a mistress.
I find it more degrading. I'm looking for a mistress. Any mistress will do, and you just flung yourself at me.
Do it. I mean, that's what it's the writer's call ultimately.
Right. Yeah. No. Definitely.
Don't need this. is this?
Not like Alice. We want similarly to how. Couldn't we just do like or as?
Go ahead. Defends. Right, and storms out with him. The Christmas thing I'm not in love with because we don't have a sense of time here.
We have been passing time. We're like spring, summer ends, but we missed fall.
Where did we get fall?
We never did.
Where did we get spring? Summer ends up way up there. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Third.
Oh,
okay,
we started with the midsummer ball. Yeah, we skipped
okay.
fall.
It's been a bit since I read that, and I was not. It's a noun. I'm not as focused on nouns. Nobody is surprised.
We could do as fall deepens.
It's now that we know that there was, because how often in a query or a synopsis do you see a season? It's incredibly uncommon.
In romance, there's a thing about Christmas romances, and so I think only because of that instance, because it's a niche genre, that might make it worthwhile.
Yeah, there's a group that I joined to find out who recommended someone join my group, and in that I've seen a number of winter-based.
I think that was kissy face not eating spaghetti noises.
That was why would I make some noise about eating spaghetti? That's not.
On top of spaghetti.
All covered with.
Okay, I think we're done now. Okay. So, you want my super fast read through?
Or I could just unplug turn my sound off and
go get some water and I'll go. Ready? Alice Dolling's ancestral estate Greer Grange. I can't. Greer Grange is screening toward bankruptcy. Despite her and her father's efforts, nothing seems to improve. When the village midsummer ball comes around, Alice jumps at the chance to distract herself from financial problems. Unfortunately, new Baronet Sir Albert Pendrake is out of mourning and attends the ball as his first social event since returning to the village after 10 years away. He quickly recognizes Alice as the bully who tormented him when he was merely the son of the village drunk. But Alice does not recognize the dashing, rich, and wildly handsome baronet, so she tries to interest him in joining her father's business. But he rebuffs her, refusing to even dance with her until she leaves the assembly room in tears. At the end of the month, the bank forecloses on Greer Grange and leaves Alice's family penniless and homeless. She sends her younger sisters to relatives, uses her dowry to rent a cottage for her father, and takes a job as Albert's mother's companion. This unfortunately means she'll be living with Albert, who is gleeful to find his former tormentor at the bottom of the social pile. At summer's end, Albert finds she is nothing like he remembers. She finds jobs for her family's former servants, supports laborers' docked wages from Greer Grange's harsh new master, and joins Albert at the workhouse to learn about child labor problems. She teaches him estate management in between teaching his mother embroidery. I think she's just embroidering with the woman.
The question for the writer.
I'm going to go with embroidering with his mother. Alice is loyal, dutiful, and lovely, and she is gorgeous. Alice is ashamed to look at the handsome Albert even as she helps him build a new leather-making workshop to improve the village's economy. He dreams of magistracy and perhaps Politics to create reform for the regular man. Not common? I think common is. Anyway, he could never desire her, but then as they're hiding from whatever in a hedge maze, they kiss, and though none of it makes sense with their history, neither is willing to part with the other. They refuse to talk of the past or present. Mr. Blackburn, the tradesman who purchased Greer Grange, makes suggestive overtures to Alice as he joins Albert's leather business. The greedy Blackburn raises the rent and kicks out sick tenants, but also threatens to withdraw from the business agreement, leaving Albert unable to finish his project. As fall deepens, an old friend discovers Albert and Alice's secret and threatens to ruin Alice's reputation. Alice realizes she must make a decision now, even though Albert is away on business. She pens a letter to Albert telling him she loves him, apologizing for always seeming to hurt him, and then walks to Greer Grange to propose to Mr. Blackburn. Blackburn laughs in her face. He's not interested in a mistress. He's interested in a mistress, not a wife. Albert returns from business armed with contracts and a legal defense. He reads Alice's letter on his way to Greer Grange. Deeply upset, he meets Blackburn and is surprised to see Alice. He convinces Blackburn to become a silent partner in the business and leave Greer Grange in peace. As he leaves, he wishes Alice and Blackburn well in their marriage. Blackburn corrects him and taunts him and his business inexperience like Alice taunted him as a child. Alice, furious, defends Albert and storms out with him. Albert, dazed and pleased at a defense he never expected or received, confronts her about the letter. She explains the threat to her reputation and her concerns for the tenants, and he proposes. They talk through their concerns, and she accepts. They marry just before Christmas and live happily ever after.
Oh.
Ooh, next one's definitely middle grade. You ready for the pre-read? You eat, I'll read.
Yep, I like that format.
Okay. So, what stories John Smith tries to tell his fifth grade classmates? How close he once sat to the classroom door, how his World War II veteran father and riveter mother rejoiced when those SS officers were executed, how deadly polio was before Jonas Salk developed the vaccine. They ignore him, except when his teacher cruelly declares she'll reward the next student who sits on him. Being sat on would injure most boys, but it doesn't hurt John. Polio got him 2 years before Salk could. He stayed home for 7 decades so he wouldn't spook students, but now he's back as part of the Council on Ghost Reassimilation's efforts to turn a shocking ghost rights court win into ghost tolerance. Supporters point out that ghosts can't hurt anyone, but detractors insist that when ghosts find a way to assault people, they'll be unpunishable, floating out of any prison, immune to all means of execution so far. So people must simply trust that ghosts will behave. Then one of John's classmates is killed and his father is charged with murder. Then the government announces that it has invented a way to kill ghosts. Then 2 more of John's classmates are killed and his mother is charged with murder. John's parents can't prove they're innocent. They're staying in prison willingly to prove ghosts can, quote unquote, behave. Soon John's locked up too, since nobody will take him and he can't live alone. But he doesn't have to behave in prison. So now he has to prove someone else killed his classmates before the state can rush through a sham trial and execution. Because otherwise, this time, his family won't come back as ghosts or at all. Middle grade paranormal 46K. Woo, that went sideways.
I did not realize how long this thing was until I saw it never ending. 284 is a lot for middle. I've seen similar length. The thing interesting in middle grade is even though the books are like half the length of an adult book, the queries can be really, really long.
Synopses.
Queries. This is a query.
What?
This is a query.
What?
This is a query. You made the font so big it looks like a synopsis. It's 284. It's a query. You made the font so big it looks like a synopsis.
Can I way. But this way we can see the side stuff.
Because you scroll and scroll and scroll, and you've got so much shit taken up by the comments on the side that it's like 2 inches of space on the screen. It's like reading it on a phone. I mean, if I hold up my phone, I can't know how to get it. Okay. So yeah, the middle grade queries can get pretty long.
This sounds like an amazing back cover blurb. This is not a query.
I'm glad you said that.
What you're trying to sell to agents is not what you're trying to sell to people wanting to read it. This makes me want to read it, although it gets a little confusing when you start explaining what's actually happening.
Yeah, it's got competing plot elements.
Very dense paragraph.
There's a lot of concepts there. A lot of stuff happening. The opening's fun. But like we lose that sense of history after the polio line in the third paragraph. And maintaining that would take more words.
I think we could just go with, but he's a ghost. I think we're talking around the issue a little bit.
We can also it's interesting, but I mean,
I think that's the least interesting of the factoids, even though it's the most relevant one.
It would be a fun thing to see in the pages, but it feels like early draft query, and then you didn't take it out in the later draft because you didn't realize you weren't maintaining. Because if the SS officers came back as Ghosts 2, that'd be a great reason to have the World War II thing in there.
Polio isn't necessarily deadly. Plenty of people lived through it, so I think we need to be explicit that it killed him.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because otherwise I was like, oh, is this back in time? Is he brittle and fragile? That was my thinking until
when does the polio
vaccine come out? I think
it was 50s, I want to say.
Yeah, they had the sugar cubes in like mid to late 50s.
10% death rate, which is overall, which is pretty bad. Because what is the coronavirus recovery rate? Looks like it's high, but that's a lot of, and that's, people are getting justifiably concerned about that. So
and there's the recovered, and then there's the fully recovered, because plenty of people
the long-term stuff, a lot of which we don't even know about still. The then things can be, it feels
read aloud, it works. Read silently,
which is how queries are read.
It seems a little repetitive.
Yep.
How about
we don't have this?
If we want to lean into the pattern, we could do then, next, finally.
Yeah.
Which has that kind of pattern to it, but visually breaks it up a little because it is different words. It's clearly strong. We're not, there's only so much red ink we're doing on this thing, but I think we need to specify that his parents are also dead.
Yeah.
So then one of John's classmates, John's dead father, is charged with murder.
I got it in the polio paragraph.
Okay.
Yeah. It's easiest to do there because you're not talking about it, so might as well just
Yeah.
That would be a dead polio family, basically.
Are they all dead from polio? I don't know. His parents might have died from something else.
I happen to know it.
Oh, okay. If you do, then
Yeah.
that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Want to know why?
You know whose story it is?
I do.
Is it yours?
I got a concept for it about a year ago. Yeah. Yeah. It's a fun thing, but as you can see, I haven't really worked on it much since then.
I'm glad you agree that it's a great blurb.
It's a great idea, but 284 and is just like a lot because it sort of has a free write because I thought I wanted to do a different take on ghost stuff. A lot of ideas, but you have to have stuff that meshes and can be builds, and the World War II stuff is a great idea, but like
why couldn't ghosts live alone?
Well, why would someone who was killed when he was 7 live alone?
Because he's been dead for 50 years.
And has he matured in that time?
Maybe not. I don't know. Ghosts could. It does not seem evident right away that he would need, Oh, hey, he has an age.
He's in 5th grade.
No, we did have 5th grade, so
that was a while ago. So
yeah, but when you said he stayed home for 7 decades, I was like, was he that sick with polio that now he's going back to school? Oh wait, there's a ghost reassemble. What is how my brain went?
Yeah. Yeah, this is. If we had anything else to work, I wouldn't even put it in here because the notion I'm ever writing this book is ridiculous. I have other stuff. I have too much other stuff that I'm not writing already to.
But your favorite job is collecting stories to not write.
Yeah, I have so many of them.
Wait. After yelling at people about verbs, I mean.
Yeah, but that's it's the same thing because you should see how much rewrites.
Maybe it's just a calling. Yelling about verbs.
I'm only sure what you need. And that's hello, new human. How do I know you? Okay, yeah, sure. There we go.
Wow.
What's up?
My dad just sent me text for a new ad that he's trying to come up with for his small press 11,000 years. And he can't be bothered to typo copy edit it before sending me his draft.
How do I put this nicely? I don't do it.
my dad sends me rough drafts and is not very good at spell checking his stuff.
Yeah.
There's a comma I think is extraneous. And how spell check didn't get elsewhere in the galaxy.
See, I would just throw it back at him and be like, hey, F7 is your friend. Until it is, I'm not.
I'm pretty sure Open Office or whatever on Linux has
Libre has it. Yeah, I've been using that for work for 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, you can do a free spell check online. You just plug the text in, and you get the thing back. So you just have to not care to do it that way. And if someone, my thing is, if someone doesn't care, why should I? So, anyway, this is a fun thing. It's way too long. We'd have to cut concepts, which is doable because again, that World War II thing is fun, but it doesn't repeat itself. So you don't really. I mean, it's a nice thing to show the age, but we can do that with just the polio vaccine thing, which is relevant to the whole thing. Anyway, it's that, and give us your synopsis. Let's put that thing in there and do it if you want to.
Hello, we have an Erica now.
Oh, hello, Erica. We just did a query that I wrote a long time ago, and it has clear issues. It doesn't have any verb issues, which is good. It doesn't. I mean, it's all mostly clear, but there's just too much stuff, and which is a problem with a lot of queries because people have they want to go, look at my ideas, look, I have such wonderful plans. That's great, but you don't need it all.
The more you tweak a query, the more likely it's going to turn into a synopsis.
The more, well, it's tweaking versus, initial tweaking, yes, because, this other, you want to get, did I tell you about the ducks? And
I mean, if it wasn't important, I wouldn't have put it in the book.
If a detail doesn't show up at least twice, then
bye-bye.
Because you can, in my experience, you can only carry about 3 plot threads through a query, and you have to do it really carefully. So if you have something that you start and you don't, keep it going.
So is John just kind of living at the prison, but he can come and go as he pleases because he's not actually a prisoner?
He's with his parents in the prison, and he is just really upset about really upset, and so he just takes off because there's nothing physically they could just do the whole passing through the bars thing. They're just choosing to be there, and so he just leaves to help to figure out who's killing these kids, because it's going to be someone really depraved, because to kill a 12-year-old, kind of gross. All right, so that's that. Give us your synopsis now, Morgan. Let's. I have some things in that.
Let me guess. It's not the Great Pumpkin King.
It is not. And I actually figured out how. I forget who I had set up to do it, to be the killer. But it was someone. It was either the teacher or one of the students in the class, who was very carefully covering themselves up to avoid being, translucent like a ghost.
Right. Oh, they were a ghost themselves. And they think everybody should be ghosts with them.
Or they just, wanted to, because there are aspects to ghosts not being mainstream that is beneficial, such as, if people believe you exist, then they're gonna pay attention to you.
Yeah. So this actually fits on one page, and now I'm going to put it in 20-point font.
So it doesn't.
Right.
Hold on 1 second. Don't do it yet. Okay, writer. Okay, that's that one. Let me just mark this with X. Let me just do that. Editing. Okay, I'm marking these short lines so I know where to find them.
Right.
Okay, that's a long line. All right, that's okay. We're done. Good. Go ahead.
Okay. There we go. So, okay. I am brave. I'm powerful. I'm gonna own this. This one's mine.
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna try. I'm gonna try to help you.
I don't know if I've edited this in a year. So, Cheragom Gom Rudenstell wishes he could live where things didn't change without warning. Unfortunately, Gom's mother, Margapola Rudenstell, is a writer who just can't stop editing, which changes the garden's flowers, the style of the chairs in the kitchen, and gives his cat wings for now. His best friend, Midgie Galdogi, on the other hand, dreams of becoming a writer. Then their 5th grade teacher announces auditions for the school play. They join their friend Alum and debate parts at lunch. Midgie bullies Gom to show up at the auditions, where he learns he can volunteer for the stage crew instead. While waiting their turns, Gom accidentally clunks his head into Midgie's chin. Gom makes himself write a healing paragraph so Midgie's jaw won't be swollen for her audition. It works and Midgie rocks her audition. Gom is chosen to be assistant stage manager. Midgie gets a lead role, and Alum is cast as understudy to the show's star. Midgie hopes her travel writer mom will be in town for the show. When they're given a writing assessment, Midgie struggles to prove herself as a writer, while Gom is scared he might ace it. And Midgie ditches her friends to sit with the big 7th grade drama kids. The next day, she gets invites for all 3 of them to join the drama students at lunch as an apology. In class, the assessment results are in. Midgie's low scores crush her writer dream, while Gom aces the test and feels trapped in an ever-edited world. Rehearsal distracts a bum Midgie until Gom starts going on about his new friend Nilo on the ride home. Gom's parents are thrilled at his assessment and let him invite Midgie and Nilo to a games and pizza place. Midgie pouts through Gom's celebratory dinner because her own score and how easy her friendship was replaced. Gom's glad Nilo came because Midgie's being a grump. After pizza, Midgie calms down. Gom's relieved his friends are getting along. Their teacher groups the class based on assessment scores. Meanwhile, Midgie's rereads of her aggressive play character rub off on her. Gom and Midgie fight about the assessment, and Midgie shoves him, giving Gom a concussion. Ms. Rodenstall doesn't press charges, but Midgie gets an in-school suspension and is nearly kicked out of the play. The friends stop talking and sit separately at lunch. The week before the show, Midgie's mom and half-sister arrive back in town. At dress rehearsal, Gom gives Midgie the sword he knew she'd like best, and they tentatively make up. Midgie's mom picks them up after rehearsal and announces she's been promoted to editor and will be staying home. Opening night, Midgie hears kids making fun of her voice at intermission and flubs her second act. After the show, Alum and Gom reassure her and she stops feeling weird about her voice. The next morning, Gom's mom tells the family she sent her final draft to her agent. No edits for weeks. Finally, the curtains close for the last time. Nilo gives Gom a ride to the cast party where Midgie has saved some pizza for her bestie and his new friend. There we go.
Good that we know. I already know that your teacher is 6th grade because you're 5th grade in the second paragraph.
I mean, 7th grade are the big kids.
Yeah, you have your 5th grade teacher announcing the thing, but in the query it's the 6th grade.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that will happen after time.
Yeah.
Very easy to forget that kind of thing. All right, let's do that. And then we have bullies here, but in the query it's coaxes.
Yeah. We played around with that one a lot.
Okay. Well, I mean, you obviously one of them is incorrect because you can't bully and coax.
Let's go with coax.
Okay.
Or like he comes along and she's like, "See, I got your parents to sign off," and he's like, "No." And the teachers are like, "Stand aside and let the other kids through." And then he finds out he can just do stage crew, and he's like, "Okay, I don't mind hanging out with you. Just don't put me on fucking stage here, people." So, I mean, only in like 5th grade, 6th grade terms.
I don't think I saved much space there. I don't need to because I don't need to worry about links.
It doesn't look like my verbs were too bad.
I'm in the 3rd paragraph. Let's just have some I should.
I still have more commas. Did you see I need more commas?
Look, you can't like go. There's no comma to verb conversion rate where if you use a certain number of verbs. Like I'm suddenly happy about your verbs.
wait. There is a comma to verb ratio. It depends if you're doing subordinate clauses or non-subordinate clauses.
You can have 83 verbs in a row in any clause, and not. You can have 4 in a row. You can have 4 in a row without eating a verb in a clause. I eat and sleep and then bake and hike. No comma needed. 4 verbs in a row. Or you can go with some long crap with modifiers and use a comma and have a verb that's trash. Just absolute garbage. Anyway, okay. So we have 2 things that are not parallel here. So we have prove yourself as a writer, right?
Yeah.
You need to fix that, and you go ahead and do it. Because I know what it is as well. So
Where are we?
where I am, we have an unparalleled objects or verb phrases, whichever you prefer. It depends on how you want to fix it. So.
Do we want Midgie is scared she won't prove herself as a writer?
No, because that's the same thing. It struggles to prove blah blah, whereas Gom is scared he might ace it. You have different concepts there, right? Gom is scared he might ace it. Midgie might be scared she'll bomb it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Your writer is a different conceptual ending. There you go. Comma. Yep. Good job.
So we have the same concept, but without necessarily the repetition.
Well, we have the same concept, but it's executed in a different way. So
Yeah.
it's the same sort of target.
Yeah. Should I have it or the test for one of the two direct objects?
I don't think you need it either way. I think you have assessment. It's pretty clearly the
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm okay with that level of parallelism.
Yeah. Do you not like parallel normally? It's a wonderful thing.
I like it to certain extents in certain ways.
So no.
I just get worried about repeating words.
So no, because that's what parallel is repeating. See, I like to do it to go to
I like
something.
it in minimal.
So no, it's the word that you're trying to use is no.
I don't hate it. I just think it should be sparingly. Sparingly. Like you and nouns.
So that's a you hate it then.
You hate nouns? You are a noun. You are a noun. Also, so is dinner.
But you eat, and that's a verb.
Yeah. Ellie showed up, and Erica said, I did not learn to dissect sentences down to their grammatical elements.
I did.
I just don't think my brain wants to take in.
Here's the interesting thing about the bulk of the work that I do with these documents is I am showing people how they can use verbs to shorten their shit, right? And almost every single time I work with someone for more than about an hour in a document, they're like, oh, you can do that? How are you? This is amazing. You're just doing it, and it's just condensing as verbs. And they start doing it themselves. And it's like, I have converted you. Which is going to make next year's fun thing even more.
And then 3 chapters later, they totally forget it.
See, they go back and they're like, I can do some book now. And it's like, there's an entire generation of books they're going to have good, strong verbs. It warms my heart. Which is verb? All right.
So,
what's up?
For what I was talking about, in this sense, Midgie is the subject, is scared is the verb.
Nope.
And then,
predicate adjective. Intransitive, predicate adjective.
Okay.
Look it up. Yep.
Anyway, bomb.
Bomb. Yeah.
It is the direct object. I know that much.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Is a verb, absolutely, and scared is technically a past participle.
Yeah.
It functions as a verb. It also functions as a predicate adjective. Which I'm telling you because I had to learn what that was last night.
Okay.
But your structure is character, verb, phrase, result, and within that result is scared that blah blah. Scared to bomb it is technically the predicate. The whole thing there is predicate adjective. I
pasted it in and forgot to go back to editing or suggesting.
Whatever. It's yours, so I'm not worried about that. I'm really not.
Right.
If you lose the something you need, you have the original there to just do your thing with. But yeah, the structure.
I wanted the next sentence to be, as an apology, she gets invites.
Yeah, that we really do need to have the apology sooner in there. I would go to the next. No. Because where our most recent noun right now is those kids.
Yeah.
And so that makes it look like the kids are involved in the apology, which is not the case, right?
Yeah, no.
What I would do, and you're going to be real shocked about this. Real shocked about this.
Is it a noun?
It's a verb.
I thought it was going to be a prepositional phrase.
Oh no, it's going to be a series of interjections.
Maybe a gerund phrase.
It's going to be it's going to have 83 consecutive nouns with prepositions.
A gerund is when you ing
a verb.
A verb. So like riding your bike.
Really?
Using verbs to shorten your shit.
Using verbs to shorten your shit.
I do talk about stronger verbs Maybe that's tonight's post. I haven't figured out what I'm blogging about tonight
Well,
yet.
if you're gonna do that, I'll read it for you. Which is because here's the thing: if you write about verbs, you know that I will read it, and you know I will have a suggestion. He said, mutely.
And what was that? You using a phrase with an adverb when you could have used a stronger verb instead?
There's a line that I would use if we were not public here because it might offend you. That I used to use with the wife a lot, but and it rhymes with no, that's gonna do it. Yeah, it's anyway. I would go the next day. She apologizes by getting invites. Blah blah blah. And then you have a nice, flowy, consequential.
What about
What's up?
Join the drama students' lunch table.
2 words. I feel like at lunch is better, but it's or for lunch or something because non-parallel again, but I'm not trying to fix it or if we need to even. I think the concept is close enough. It's just it's inelegant.
Does that make it more parallel?
That's not the issue.
Oh.
The issue is Midgey's low scores and ace the test. You have non-parallel concepts there.
For ditching her friend.
No. Next sentence.
Okay.
Yeah. In class, there's also Midgey's low scores crush her. Blah blah blah. That's not her low scores crush versus him acing is not parallel concepts or parallel grammatical constructs. But I don't think it matters because it just it's close enough to me. It won't be the reason. See, to me, the big thing here is you gotta fit the space. That's my first concern with the query with the synopsis always, because if it doesn't fit the space, then you have another job. But we're not worried about space, so I'm looking at like readability. And whereas the previous one just was kind of clashing, this one I think is tolerable. It technically, if I were going in as a copy editor, I would fix it. And it like I low-key want to do that now, but like its brokenness is clean.
Okay. I can have clean breaks.
Let's do that one. All right.
Bad puns here all night.
Come after Nilo. Come after Nilo. That's an positive.
How did I leave out a comma? I must have been sick.
And a comma after a noun, even your favorite part of speech.
I know, especially when you do the descriptive and then the name and then carry on the sentence.
I know. I'm sorry. I know. Yeah.
We all know this is my
okay, this sentence has to change because it's not remember for the query what it is? Where? It's not letting him anything. The query has them wanting him to throw a lavish party. Remember that?
Yeah, that wasn't quite accurate, but it worked better in the query. Do you need a moment? He needs a moment.
There's a thing that happens sometimes when I'm working I have an appointment with someone and I'm really pissed off. I will hit myself just to get some of that frustration out. And I can't do that now. And I will speak in 4-letter words that are not verbs, many in a row because I don't want to get angry at a person just because they're an idiot. Or they're having a very stupid moment.
I'm so proud of your restraint. You're using a filter. Go you.
Yeah, honey, I so am right now. I so am. This is really filtering a lot. Because if it's not.
It was in the same document. It was underneath the query. There was
You know why I didn't look at the query, lady? As was a synopsis, because the query is what matters way more.
Oh yeah. But you were asking questions, and I was like, sorry, the stakes aren't that high, and I kept backing you off from the stakes.
I mean,
it's a quiet school
you just have to. You can. The stakes can be stepping on a leaf or not. Okay, as long as you set it up, right? It doesn't. I mean, a good writer can do anything with stakes. A bad writer can explode a galaxy, no matter. Yeah, I breathe a lot. I have to because I'm talking a lot. Okay, so it's not. So we have to fix the query right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, not right now, but fix it. Show it to me if you want.
Technically, alum was invited too, but couldn't go because
that doesn't help me at all, and you know it. So, because you know what we did in there, right?
Yes.
Yes. So we had to show for those of you, the two of you who are watching this.
There's 6.
6. Oh boy. Well, in that case.
2 hands.
Oh, hooray! How about
mine?
That? Anyway,
we're talking about my query. This is my synopsis.
Yeah, this is her synopsis. In her query, she is establishing the gap, the enthusiasm gap between Gom's parents' reaction to his writer test score thingy, whatever noun. I don't care if it's nouns. And Gom's reaction to it. In the query, in the Disney version, they want him to throw a lavish party. They want to invite heads of state. They want to invite captains of the mystery. God himself will be there. And he talks them down to 2 friends and a pizza place. In the book, it's just a pizza place. There is no
life. His parents are like, we could do pizza, but like not on a weekend because bleep the crowds on Friday nights. Because I mean,
I'm just gonna ask you a question straight up. Are you trying to kill me?
Have you ever? I'm not making you go to Chuck E. Cheese on a Friday night.
I have been to Chuck E. Cheese.
I would be trying to kill you.
I have been to Chuck E. Cheese on a Saturday afternoon.
Oh yeah,
and lived. And the noise was holy.
Right?
Oh, wow. I mean, you have to pregame with Tylenol for that.
And this is why his parents are like, yes, you can pick the pizza place if we go Thursday night.
You're just de-escalating more.
I know.
Anyway, we had to fix
I thought every parent who read that would totally understand.
How do you? Okay, so is there a gap between what he wants to do and what they want him to do? Because you can only
you ace this. Let's invite your friends over for dinner. You get to pick the place.
Right. Okay. Is there a gap between what they want to do and what he wants to do?
I mean, it is no. I mean, they're offering him.
Okay.
He doesn't want to celebrate this, but he doesn't mind going to the pizza place, which his parents never let him go to.
I'm not sure that helps us. Right. I'm just calm.
Hey, I told you it was past the first third of the story, and we could totally cut it out.
It's past the first third. Okay, let's do this.
I broke Patrick. If you need to walk away for a minute, I understand. I can mute you.
No, it's not. It's not. We got. How much stuff we have left? Let's just look at this. Okay, this and then. Okay. All right, get back to the thing, because I'm looking at your screen because it's easier to. I'm talking to you right now as the writer. Okay. So this is the book. Okay, so we have a double. Okay. It doesn't matter. It's fine. It's fine. Everyone will live. It's fine. Everyone will live. You said that twice, and I don't think it's enough. Let me just. Just do a thing here. To celebrate. Let's really. I'm gonna verb myself back to health, which doesn't surprise anybody who knows me. I can find you. Because she's good. Do we need that? Do we need that sentence? See, let me just try something right quick here. I'm gonna see if I can find you.
Oh, when I said, I used to say that I have tweaked this synopsis since last year. I lied.
Okay, that's
Originally, I was saying she started sitting with her test assessment group at lunch.
That's interesting. Good to know. Okay, so human who has followed me. I don't know why. Do you ever tweet? Not really. Might as well. There we go. You'll be happy about that, I guess. Maybe ish. All right. So if we don't need it, can we toss it? I mean, I can see it being a plot outline, absolutely. But if you're not going to use it, then
yeah. So let me know if it. I mean, we have the rest of that sentence line, or no, we don't. It doesn't have an X next to it, so I say cut it.
All right.
Yeah. Because I was trying to show that the teachers totally buy into these test results, even though they're fifth graders or sixth graders. Come on, it doesn't spell the rest of their lives. But kids get super worked up these days, and the teachers really push it, and it's ridiculous.
Verbs. All right, it'll be fine. Okay. You remember? I don't remember his last name right now, but that relational noun.
Yep. No, that makes sense.
What am I subbing, Kelly? When I'm ready to sub, what am I subbing?
Submitting your story.
Oh,
subbing is what you say for shorts.
Right, but what am I submitting to anything? I'd have to query with that. I mean, I'd have to query. That would be like, huh? Me query that.
We're going back to our tagline of "It's a million times easier to edit someone else's query than your own."
Oh, you want to look at my actual query? That's not going to happen tonight. No, my query, I worked on it and it means well, but a pitch force human destroyed it. It died in the most loving fire ever.
It means well.
It really, I tried. I really did. Words were used. But
I'm hearing bless its heart.
God love it. It was a community college football team playing Alabama. It just did not go well. I think it was more
it
red
was
ink.
the Skins in the fourth quarter.
Red ink than black ink on that thing.
I mean, I do like red and black.
Do you want to see my query, Kelly? Because I could dig up an unmarked version and you can see it. It's just,
Oh. Sub as in substitute if you need a break.
Oh, do you want to come on and talk? Because I'm good. I mean, I'm okay. I was irritated at Morgan for a gap between the plot and the query. But no, I'm okay. I'm alive.
Unless somebody throws in a query at us, we can show how I took my query from sounds like a picture book to.
Oh yeah. The thing where it looked so young. It was so young. Oh my god, it was so young. And the focus was how do I put this politely? improved. In the end, it just, I mean, you understand what it was though. Yeah.
In context, it made perfect sense. In fact, like not knowing the story, I was like, oh my gosh, it sounds like a picture book.
Really, it was like, Mom is so unfair. She does these things, and it's, why are we focusing on the mother in a middle grade book? Anyway, and is that it? Is this a count now? Is this? Can you have in-school suspensions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't they? Don't they still have in school?
My kids don't get in trouble, lady. I don't know.
I think so. I think in school suspension.
The kids scream and they hit each other, but not in school, apparently.
Like it used to be like a planning period after or Saturday school if you were really
I didn't get that.
Or like you miss lunch.
Okay, my question is not about the existence of it, but about the grammar of it. Is it a countable noun? Can you get in-school suspensions?
Yeah.
Because if you can, okay, then it's a count noun, right? Because where I went to school, we didn't have this. We just didn't punish people at all, and it was lots of fun. Yeah. All the psychopaths. Lots of fun. Okay. But when were they? Okay, when was it a half sister? Why do we care about a half sister?
We don't have to. We can cut her. I did mention earlier that her travel blogger mom, she was hoping would be in town.
Yeah, I mean, we're focusing on. Hold on,
yeah, it's called in-school suspension, ISS.
Okay, yeah, there's no real reason for him to have. I mean, I can. Okay, if you were building, if part of the story were about family, coming together for whatever reason.
They're both slightly about their strained relationships with their mothers.
Okay.
Midgie's mother is never home, and Gom's mother keeps ruining his shit.
Busy ruining his life. Yes. Very common theme for a 12-year-old, regardless of what your mother is doing.
Right.
Because a 12-year-old will legitimately see anything as your mother's trying to ruin your life. It's just a thing.
Obviously.
But like, if this were going to be a sort of a family coming together thing, then the half sister or anybody arriving in town would be, a legitimate, emotional point thing to do. Yeah. But if it's not that, and it's not, then I don't see the point to it. Because any character you introduce, especially if it's related to the main character, is taking attention away from that main character, right?
Yeah. I don't know. To me, there's the emotional worry of her friends not there for her and her mom. She can't count on her mom to ever be there.
Mm-hmm.
And then they all come together at the end.
Right, but the half sister is a different thing.
I was just trying to add in some complicated family dynamics.
Oh, thank you for complicating things for me, Morgan. It's just no, I'm just being silly. Are you okay? You look like you're a little annoyed.
No. I'm keeping an eye on my cat, who's
not
attacking
okay. That's
right
what it was.
I was looking for my water bottle.
Okay, right. Mucking.
It was horrible. She was in the bathroom and they compared her to, I forget what, an oboe.
That's interesting.
Her voice sounded like an oboe. And then her voice is all wonky in the next act because she's freaking out.
Okay. I lived.
Yay! And I didn't die.
Yay! It feels a little unfair because the thing of mine that we did, I don't care about.
Where mine's
going up. If we did Brianna live, that would be a thing. That would be interesting. You'll want to convert it back to normal text and make sure that's space. I got that wrong. Whatever. Back as a new line. What is that? What that is? Okay, that's that. And that's.
And with everything in, that means I can friggin' just read it.
You don't have to micro machine it.
Really hard to read around things.
Take it down to 12 and let's see about the stuff.
Link. Sure.
It should be.
What is this?
What the?
Oh, we didn't get
You missed some of it. You missed that's
a page.
Entire based on how massive the font was. Yeah, a page. Okay, I have something that I suggest is what you could do. Pick at one or two of the items in the change section of the garden, the flowers, the chairs, and the cat. Pick one or two of them, drop the third, and then mention the two of them down at the edits in the edits language in the last paragraph, just to bring it back to details that we're supposed to care about.
And we are successfully still on one page.
Hooray! We can get down a lot less than that. If you see all those partial lines.
Yeah. We can fill those suckers up.
Anyway, I would let me look at see how much the bulk. Okay, that's that, and how many more lines do we have? We're at exactly okay. Yeah. What is this? That's okay. I'm gonna delete the X's. I mean, you can combine at least this paragraph, these two right here, and save a line.
Okay. Yeah, that's a definitely good spot to.
Yeah. And then if you toss one of these changes up here, you'll save a line most likely.
But lists can't have two things in them. They need three.
Well, then you take out a comma and you put an and in.
Oxford comma for life.
See, you don't need to find reasons to use it. You can just.
You can't have a list of two examples. You need three.
You do not. You're not formatting it as a list. You're formatting it as stuff.
Don't care. It's a stylistic decision.
I heard the hashtag there. It's
fantasy. We like our lists of three. Things come in threes.
It's not a trilogy list. In which case, everyone would see the chairs and wait for the cat to happen. Right. All right.
So I guess that means I have to fix that sentence in my query.
Yeah, you do, because otherwise. The good thing is you can readily de-escalate that party and save some words.
Yeah. So I am going to share a slightly different screen real quick.
Yeah. Erica,
Thank you, Erica. Thank you.
I used to like you, Erica.
Oxford, why do you hate one extra quote unquote?
Why do I hate extra anything? Why would I hate extra things? Why would I hate extra?
It's just one comma.
Morgan, that's how it starts.
It takes up 1/3 the width, the kerning of a letter.
Yes, it takes up.
It gives you white space, which makes it more readable.
It's in almost every case I have seen of an Oxford comma. Okay, it doesn't serve anybody except the seller of ink.
I
have seen instances where you have to use it because people.
I'm not saying it's always needed. I'm just saying when I have a list of 3 things in comma 3 or more items and there isn't a comma before the last, I expect that to be a combo thing, like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Okay, and there's a rule for that, in fact.
I know, but I like.
Yes, it's your comfort thing. I understand.
It's a visual. If I see the comma, I know that's another item.
Okay.
And I parse on the comma. I needed to be harsh on the
being,
comma.
I, as a human being, can roll with things that aren't what I expected, and I can also rewrite to help people understand things clearly.
I'm a software engineer.
I am not.
And I break between items, and it's a comma separated list.
Yes, that's and if you don't have a comma there, does the code function?
Very often not.
There you go. If you don't have a comma with, I listen to Yanni, Everclear, and Motorhead. As a human being, can you understand that Everclear and Motorhead have merged into one band?
I understand that they do not need a comma except in specific instances. Visually, I find it easier to read.
Okay. Visually,
That's just how my brain processes.
Irritating most of the time.
So I am passionate about the
Yes, I can tell. This is the most restrained conversation about this topic. Maybe next time we'll do coffee versus tea. I go with neither actually. But it's one of those things that people just have very strong. I understand that. There are situations in which you have to use it because you have to make clear that I was editing some defense news a decade ago, let's say. And if you don't know this material, you need to have a lot of scaffolding, which is what punctuation is. Scaffolding helps you understand how these words are supposed to be parsed together, right? And they was listing a bunch of defense stuff, and words I'd never seen. I'm like, I don't know if this last thing should be ham and eggs and bacon. If it should be ham and eggs or ham and eggs and bacon. Because if you don't know those breakfast things, right? Then you legit, because you can have either one of those. You can have eggs and bacon, you can have ham and eggs, and then bacon separately, right? So you need a comma there so that people understand, right? But in a lot of cases, Everclear and Motorhead aren't one band.
If a comma is optional, I will put it in. If it's not necessary, I'll take it out. I am also a blogger, and white space is like our bread and butter.
I know that actually because I've been blogging for more than a decade.
And yet you don't like a good Oxford?
I don't. I like to be able to. Okay, you know how to be able to break the rules, you have to know them all in the first place, right? Yes. I have a pretty solid handle on some rules. Eats, shoots, and I know. Yeah.
I can lay hands on it in less than 10 seconds.
Yes, I was wondering what you were doing there. I was a little afraid for you there. Because it wasn't your cat, and I'm like, there's a reason that you look away, and it's always the cat. Is that the angle version or the your camera's moved? Is that so one of the things about that book is that it was first published as a Cornell University writing guide in the 1910s, I think.
This is the fourth edition?
Fourth edition?
Yes,
fourth. Oh wow, that's old. At least it's a reprint of it. Because is it? I think it's the wrong book. So
this is from 2000.
Okay, so it's a reprint though.
Clearly.
So here's the thing: the originally Elemental style. Originally, most things were printed to default to he as the pronoun. Okay, and what happened was that Andy White, who had taken up the mantle after his English professor died, wrote a very intense defense of he as the gender-neutral pronoun. And when his son-in-law, Roger Angel, I believe, took up editing, that died. And that's the one. That's the one with the change in there. Yep, that's the one. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure. I think if you read that section or the pronoun section, you'll find that what one writer called the spirited defense of he as the assumptive pronoun had gone away, because grammatically there's no reason to have he be used for both he and she, and they as gender neutral has been around for at least 700 years. Yeah. In fact, it dates back to a time when we had 27 letters in the alphabet, because there was a letter,
the thorn
and yoke, yep, okay, which does still exist, but is so uncommon that it is now printed as a Y. If you go into, for example, Williamstown, if you go into colonial tourist trap places,
Williamsburg, Virginia.
Thank you.
As opposed
and
to
you
New
go
York.
to the oldie shop or whatever, the Y there is a TH. It's the shop.
Yeah.
But it's just because, and the reason that it happened is that the printing press, first off, it was not invented by Gutenberg. He invented movable type that didn't move. Anyway, he was a metalsmith. He died anonymously. No one knows where he's buried. Anyway,
and
German.
the thorn. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Good. You first. Okay.
I was just going to say the thorn, for people who are unfamiliar, looks like a P with a line that goes up equally, and it's basically a TH.
There's another form, but it's similar. Here's the thing: German doesn't have that. If it did, it didn't have it in the 15th century, and so German printers weren't going to make a letter just for the English, because no, let's not do that. Yeah. And more to the point, they're trying to save space on this stuff because paper at that point is expensive, and so you would have they would use a Y, which looked enough like the P, and also people don't write that well, and so instead of writing this whole loopy thing, right? Where you have a, let me do it. Can you hold on? I actually have that open. Okay, can you scroll in? Okay, so.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I can.
Let me see if I can generate it.
Scroll. Okay, I do have my.
Let me see if I can. I'm gonna try to get one for them. Okay, let's just blow that up. Okay. Now imagine that, but with the stick much taller and much shorter. Okay, so it looks like a really weird P. Okay, people would write that casually, and it became more like that.
So those are your options for thorns. For different fonts.
Yeah, that second one there. Second one's good. Perfect. And then blow it up to like 30 or something. Okay. Insert the special character in there. Get it in there. Okay. Now blow it up like 30, whatever. Okay. Now you have to either come all the way down and then midway and do all the way around, or not. It's very hard to write well. And if you look at old cursive P's, where you were taught to do the sharp upstroke and the down, it just doesn't look like that. I mean, my grandmother was taught that way, and her P's were like sticks. And then
I learned the trick to making cursive Q's look like actual Q's.
You just close it?
Yeah, just start close to the bottom of the line and then go up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And bam, it looks like an actual Q.
So anyway, back when we're talking about, okay, manuscripts, which had been literally the handwritten thing, hand script. Right. Okay, it was a whole bunch of Y's basically. And so functionally, there wasn't great reason for anybody to make a character only for those words. Okay, so they used Y's instead. And not only that, but they would jam them in there. Like they would jam, like if you were going to have a that, okay, instead of it being that, right, like that, okay, it would be more like a let me do it.
What was the other thing other than the thorn that they got rid of?
No, it's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
They
also had the double S that was actually
the F thing, yeah. Okay, it would be more like that. Okay, because look how much less space that uses than this, right? Tap the space, and if you're trying to save space on your vellum, right, or your other very expensive paper, you're trying to do whatever you can. Okay, this is such an issue that there are people who would go to productions of plays such as Shakespeare, and they would like Shakespeare's plays. A lot of them were basically poetry, and so you have da 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 after end of the line. They would keep going, and they would. There was a question with one text whether it was because it was misheard, whether it was to sullied flesh or to solid flesh because they couldn't hear enough. See, I say that because I can tell Morgan that because I know her. I wouldn't say that normally.
Right. Okay. So do we want to hear my original query that sounded like it was written for a picture book? 12-year-old
Was that
Gum.
a question or was that a statement?
It's gonna happen whether they like it or not. You can put me on mute. You already suffered through it.
Oh, that was suffered. I heard a different word initially.
I don't know what you think I might have said. So 12-year-old Gum just wants to live somewhere where things aren't always changing. Unfortunately, his writer mom keeps editing her book, which temporarily changes the color of the garden flowers, the style of chairs in the kitchen, and as of today, gave his cat wings. Midgie dreams of being a writer like her bestie. Like her bestie Gum's mom. She loves rereading her favorite books until she starts to resemble her favorite characters and is thrilled when her teacher announces auditions for a school play. When their class takes a writing assessment, both of their dreams are dashed when Gum aces the test and Midgie's scores lag behind. At least Midgie gets cast in a lead role and Gum makes a new friend who doesn't care about his score. However, with rereads of her character bringing out the aggressive side of an already envious Midgie and Gum's fear of being doomed to a life like his mother's, the friends find themselves pitted against each other. If Gum can't accept that being a writer isn't all bad, and Midgie can't master her jealousy of his writing potential and his new friend, they're going to lose their friendship forever. Gum and Midgie is a 46,000-word dual point of view middle grade contemporary fantasy with serious potential inspired by Wishbone. It explores friendship, family dynamics, and a sense of self in a world where hair, skin, and gender are all fluid. Blah, 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 blah. You all know who I am. Thank you for your time and consideration. So that was the original.
One thing I would like to note about that, the stake sentence might look like it lacks agency, but our force 2, whatever thing it was, is pretty common in queries. So it's okay. I'm not thrilled with it, but it's not something I fight anybody over. Right. Comments though, I will.
And this is why Patrick wanted to kill me after much back and forth.
Much. So first of all, did we have to change the query's focus?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. I threw it out. I didn't rewrite it. I threw it out and started over twice. And this is where we ended up. In a world where reading literally changes you and the world around you, at least temporarily, 12-year-old Gum has been best friends with Midgie since his writer mom started babysitting her in kindergarten. Midgie's great at finding new adventures for them. Gum just wishes she were better at listening to his advice when she's distracted by some superficial reading magic change. Then their 6th grade teacher announces school play auditions. Midgie's thrilled to finally put her reading magic on stage and coaxes Gum into auditioning with her. Instead, he shuns the limelight, joins the stage crew, and makes a new friend she doesn't even know. At least she wins a leading role. When the class takes a reading magic test, Gum aces it to his dismay. His parents want to throw a big party, and he talks them down to a small dinner with Midgie, who flunked, and his new friends at a games and pizza place. When his parents brag on him, he nearly dies of embarrassment, and she chokes on her envy. But she's determined to excel at the reading side of magic, at least, so she licks her wounds and throws herself into her role even outside rehearsal. As she grows more aggressive from every script reread, the adults pressure Gum to devote himself to reading magic so he can follow after his wonderful mother. Frustrated, he yells at Midgie about her stupid reading magic obsession. She shoves him so hard he gets a concussion. If she can't accept that her friend is better at something he doesn't even like, and he can't accept that being great at reading magic isn't all bad, their friendship may be over for good. Blah, 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 contemporary fantasy, blah, blah, blah.
This is after we had to rearrange some things and de-emphasize a transition in the plot that was something. And now we have to, I think it's okay though. Just talk Okay, hold on. I gotta fix that because that's just.
But I verbed it. I verbed it.
Just, please. Just sit.
I live to make Patrick
Hands
cry.
on table, like you're in a classroom.
I just wanted to emphasize his parents were celebrating, and he's like, at least I'm getting pizza and games out of it.
It is uncommon for me to begin anything with an infinitive verb form.
I know.
Uncommon.
I didn't think it was allowed.
It when you're me, it is.
I thought you might murder me in my sleep if I
would have to put on pants and go somewhere in my car.
Legit.
I mean,
Never mind.
Yes. Thinking bad thoughts about you from afar, on the other hand, totally doable.
Right.
But I do that for everybody because it just verbs are like.
Leaving the house requires a lot of momentum, though, and
You
strong.
have to want to go somewhere, and then you get there and you have to get up and walk with shoes on.
And you're probably gonna have to interact with somebody.
If you can, not really. If you can, I can avoid them. But God, and
Not
and
just like hand them coupons.
And I haven't done that in a while, but yeah, you're right. It's really something.
Side note: Patrick likes couponing.
I have saved $20,000 couponing at least, but it hasn't been good in a while because it just hasn't.
Pandemic and sales.
Yeah, so frozen food, like sales of that stuff, were down for a couple years in a row, and so the industry was like, okay, we have to get people buying frozen stuff again. That was when I started couponing, and so I didn't pay for frozen vegetables for 2 years because there was a coupon, and if you find that the brand that has the coupon, no, we ate a lot of frozen onions, which is okay if you cook them, but we were sitting pretty for a while there. My favorite was the 5 cent per pound seasoned rice. We had a lot of that. Mahatma rice was good for us for a long time. Then there were the 50-cent pizzas.
Wow.
So I really miss, down from 5 something. Yeah. And getting paid to buy sugar was nice too. Anyway.
Did we fix how I totally broke your query? My query?
Your query.
Our query.
My query is not going to get, I can show you, but it's you're really like, okay, and you do this professionally?
Because it's not mine.
Because it's not I can fix it with Chris because I don't know the plot. I'm not bombarded with all this stuff trying to all this stuff. Like I have a formula that I've used with people who like write 3 queries and I'm like, okay, give me these 4 things, and the stakes, and give me the synopsis to this point, and leave me alone for half an hour, and I'll give you a query, and you can fill in. That is hyphen. It's come about. There you go. Thank you. And I will give you something that you can fill in a couple blanks, and it'll be fine. But when I try to do it for myself, like my character, first off, becomes a sentence, and which is already because I'm thinking like, no,
I'm noun a sentence.
I turn a noun into a sentence. Yes, which means I have a verb in my noun. Which is the most on-brand thing for me possible. But see, you can't break the rules. But I've worked seriously 1,200 queries.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the more you think you alone can find a way to. You really can. You really can't. Because I want to work in the fact that you can do this stuff, but character, not character's ability, but character. And the furrow brow thing is a huge thing in the book. Like she does it a lot. It's a big thing for her. But character, not what character does, but character.
I mean, there's a reason you wrote more than 3 pages on her.
I wrote. There's a reason I've been writing this book for 3.5 years.
Yeah. I hope it goes somewhere amazing because it
would be nice, but
such a valid story.
But like.
I don't write anything. What's the word I'm looking for? Like,
I'm not going to go there.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're going for there, but there's so many bad ways for you to do that. Contemporary, is that the word you're looking for?
This is technically contemporary.
This is fantasy.
Contemporary fantasy.
Fantasy, yeah.
I don't write anything that is what is the word I'm thinking of?
Issue
I can't
book?
read my mind.
No, it's not that. Because this is an issue book.
Just hot issues.
Yeah. Well, I didn't write it as a hot issue book.
Oh yeah, no.
Like, I got an idea. Like I told you, the genesis of my thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Which is not a hot issue at all.
No.
And then it became Dear God.
Yeah. But you know, things that are like very pertinent to politics now and stuff isn't where I go.
Yeah.
That's not my jam. I'm not a rabble rouser. I'm
No,
not.
that's interesting.
I like my low stakes. I like my sweet fantasy.
Yeah. And I just I mean, even my picture books are highly treasured. I mean, you can't, because if you have like Fiona is like emphatically, it's just deeply political. Like you have someone who's the only one of her kind in an entire kingdom. How that isn't about a marginalized person is impossible.
I have a gender fluid character, but Alum's not a main character.
Yeah.
Because it's not my story, and I don't want to, do it wrong.
It potentially exists.
But having gender fluid characters in this world makes perfect sense because you can. So
and also like having the story be
an inclusivity,
a sandwich eater versus like coming out of me to pose as, because like in my book I have 36 queer characters. Yeah. Because we travel in packs.
Right.
But like I don't flood the query with them because that's not the book. The first book, like Brianna, and this is going to shock you tremendously, thinks she's better than anybody else. Where have you seen that before?
Is she all about the verbs?
She's all about
travel.
She's all about furrowing her brow, doing this, and then figuring things out on her own. Solo. Where have you seen that before?
Give me a minute. Okay.
Yeah. So, and she's got friends and they do things too, but they don't do what she does. No. And what she does, like she figures out like that they're going to have a pop quiz in history because of the thing happening, which is a great thing to be able to do. But her friends can't do that. And her best friend is good at finding middle ground, which as a idealistic. There you go.
As an idealistic teenager.
Thank you. She finds sort of repulsive a little bit because there are some things where she just is not going to compromise, and by some things I mean every single thing, because you know how teenagers are. They feel
they're right or they're wrong.
Yes, they are very, very strongly. And like everyone has a thing they can do. I realized about 4 months ago that it is quietly a YA superhero story, but I'm not writing it as one or presenting it as one, so I get away with doing that because it looks contemporary. There's only a small hint, and you have to really know what you're looking for to figure out where the origin story comes in. And it's not even it's not in the query because that's not within the first third. It happens when she's 11, I think, which is many years before the book starts. Anyway, do we have something else? We worked.
I don't know. Does anybody in the audience have a query or maybe even a cover letter or maybe a synopsis we could look at? You know how to DM me.
Yep.
Oh baby.
Because if we have nothing, I have 2 ideas. One of them is to look at a successful one and dissect it.
Ooh, I do like.
Yeah. You can pick a random one if you want, or I have a couple I can port out. I like. Oh, do it. Send it to us, and I can because that way.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm on Facebook or Twitter.
Did I already do your sin? Wait, no. I told you to put it in the document. I'd rather do a query, please. I'd rather do. Please. I really. I don't.
Thank you for working your way through my synopsis. I appreciate that, and so does hopefully my future mentor.
That would be.
I'm so bummed that the person who wrote the Pitch Wars querying song took her YouTube private, and I didn't see.
Okay, so hold on. What when I say the document, I mean.
Maybe she put in last week's document?
No, I think she probably put in her document. I'll Elizabeth, I will work your thing at some point this week. Unless you're not doing Pitch Wars, right? I don't remember. I don't think you are. Or is this a post Pitch Wars thing? Because getting anything done before Pitch Wars at this point would be a little bit of work. Erica's, I think I know what that is. We just yeah, that's open. Okay. So is this set Jolie? Oh god. I mean that politely. Okay. So is this the thing? Is it the top thing in the 14? How did I get 14? How did I get 14 page? Because we skip pages, that's how. Okay then, that's why. That's why then. Alright. Okay. Alright, good to know. Alright, let me plug this in. I had seen this, haven't studied it. What the hell happened there? That's you. All right, that's good. That's fine. All right. Editing mode. That's not it. Come on. Okay. You need to. You need to do that thing there. Will you?
Elizabeth says I already submitted for Pitch Wars with what you sent in, or with a different manuscript. Because I know some of us are juggling a couple.
Some of us. Right, that's. Oh, okay. All right. So is this? Okay.
Oh wait, that's my hot mess.
Yeah, we need to see more of your hot mess, do we? I'm just happy it's easy to fix, and we didn't lose a whole lot of tension.
Yeah. We just modified that one sentence. Oh wait, I shared the same thing again. What am I doing? Clearly, I'm obsessed.
Why are you asking me? I don't. There's a reason I don't click the buttons in this.
I have the button clicker. Done. Chrome tab.
Watch out, your cat.
I see him.
Yeah, I thought you might. I saw.
I have a button in my face.
So Erica, is this? Are we starting with a headline there? Is that like a War has ended world pieces here? Is that? Are we supposed to be reading that as some sort of headline thing or a log line? Julie Courtois, Amand Papa, good. Dreams. So why the f is this pink? Okay, yeah, it's yeah. There it is.
Erica says, I think headline, it's what's happening at the world.
That's, yeah, okay, thank you.
So basically, in a world where war has ended and peace is here forever, blah, blah, blah.
They?
Does she have two sets of parents?
That's the grandparents.
Oh, those are her grandparents. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Yep, we did. It was a. I recognized it immediately because I was raised weekly bilingual in French, with my stronger language being English. My
I
grandmother
thought
was
they were just
what's
the
that?
French names for Mama and Papa.
It's there are a couple of things you can do for that for the French. That's one of them. So to me it was pretty obvious, but other people are not gonna. You can change that if you wanted to be more obvious to her Seychelles grandparents or something, whatever it is. Because you are going to get people thinking that Maman is a typo and that Papa is her father. So just making it a little more obvious is probably going to help you.
I took French, but for some reason I was thinking Maman was just another version of mom.
No, it is a.
Because I thought grandmère was grandmother.
Yeah, it is. Hold on.
Obviously, school
But
French.
in French, the Google Translate gives me Maman. French English is mom. But like you can also have pet names for things, such that it sounds like the whole southern vowel shift with mama, mima, and mima. But again, there's an easier. You can just disambiguate it easily enough just by saying her Seychelles grandparents.
I'm working on setting. Are we in France? But Carmichael doesn't sound French.
Well, we can't be. I don't know. The character speaks Seychelles, I believe, which is an island, I think.
Okay.
Who's?
Oh, I'm editing. Sorry. I need to suggest R. Because we stay in. Woo! What just happened? Ow! Stop, cat. Stop. Do not bite the mommy. Okay. So Erica says Jolie's grandparents and father are from the. What is it? Oh, my cat is tapping the touchpad. The Seychelles. The story is set in England, and Jolie is mixed race.
This needs to be. Something is wrong with this. I should know what it is. I think I do now. Okay. Here we go. I think that's fixed. Secrets and hidden things. Protecting them will protect. I'm not sure. This is. I just the sixes feels weird to me. Okay, just okay. I think the bias is set. I'm not sure I understand the stake sentence, so I'm not sure my fix is a fix or if it's just shuffling chairs or if it actually hurts. I just thought I'm not sure I'm grasping, so I'm trying to make it clearer. Where's the concern for war here before? Okay, I see a little struggle. I don't see a.
Does the sending of the shimmering orbs stop war? And did her grandparents die in the war? I'm trying to figure out her connection to the war itself.
I don't see an earlier element of any sort of violent whatever thing that would make us concerned about it. See, the war has ended. The world peace thing. I understand that, but like, all we're seeing is nothing happening, and like, we're not seeing anybody concerned about war. We're not seeing any, trauma from that. There's no, like, it's like if you're painting glass, you paint the stuff in the glass, you just paint the light reflecting off it because the glass is not clear. If you're showing peace, you have to show that things are peaceful, things are happening. Like people coming home from war, or landmines being dug up, or some factory being maybe a factory was requisitioned for the war effort. It had been making cars, and it started making tanks, and it makes cars again, which happened in World War II. Henry Ford said that he could have his manufacturing plants make a bomber an hour, which the German Secretary of Defense or whatever it was said was ridiculous. And then he got the time down to 57 minutes and something, because that's, machinery was the thing they did. But so you need to show the peace that they're getting and people not wanting to go back to work. But right, because right now, this query to me is about a mental health struggle, which is great, which is fine, if that's what the book is.
And then the shimmering orbs fall, and are they just things she can see? Is anyone else in the world reacting to it?
But I don't see as enough in this for the peace that they've been given to be the stakes, because there's simply nowhere else in the query. And putting it in would not be hard. It would not be hard at all. I could give you, sentence concepts for that. But like we have this sudden, and what happens, a lot of queries do this. I would say probably a solid third of the ones I see have it. They start out great. They start, everything builds and builds and builds, and then the stakes something else.
Yeah,
it's
also really easy to want to put the stakes as the climax of the story instead of for the first third of the story,
which I see a lot too.
So,
and in fact, for Morgan's query, yeah. The first query I ever sent went to the end of the book.
Oh, I'm sure mine did too.
And it was really bad. The first query I ever sent actually was for a book I hadn't finished.
No one knows what. Okay, so we need to put that in there.
Okay.
Then shimmering orbs fall to Earth, and suddenly war stops.
War has already ended. Hold on, let me go back to the thing. War has ended, world peace is here. Yeah. So we need to see the peace. We need to see soldiers coming back. We need to see, if there was blackouts for, to guard against bombings, we need to see that ending,
This is the first third of the story.
Okay, good. So I would look within the book. I would still look at how you show the peace that has come, and you need to put that in there and have it be, ideally, it would be related to her mental health struggle, because you have those two, threads coming together, right, like that. You can do it separately. It's hard to do, but you can. What you have is the war sort of or the peace becoming a character itself, and then she has control over that. But then you'd have to link that piece to something that is intrinsic to what she wants. It's doable. I mean, it's just a matter of like knowing the book. And my thing about I could do bracket census for you to show you to do it, but like after about 2 consecutive brackets, you get the risk of going too far away from what the book does is just too great for me. Do it very often. Because there's so many ways to show peace, but you have to establish the peace it has to be active and intentional, as opposed to just nothing happening. Because nothing happening is just nothing. I mean, you have to show it, basically. Does that make sense?
I think so. I think we need something around, if we keep what there is, after shimmering orbs, Jolie knows the being must be involved and, starts to connect the piece that he brings her with the piece that has come to
And
the whole planet.
She realizes that the reason that blah blah peace thingy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, if it's separated from. Okay, if you're gonna have the peace and the stakes, bluntly, you have to have it before that. Like you can't have like one line at the top and then go down, nothing about peace, and then suddenly it's there. It's just that's not how you're not building tension with the piece, basically. Because the way you build tension is by having the elements in there and building, and you're not having piece building if it's only focused on carmichaels. Like the tension you've been building with this is within Jolie and not within the piece. And if you want to use a piece as water. And if the decisions she has to make is about a piece that you haven't been building in terms of tension.
Yeah, then I feel like we're either very zoomed in or very zoomed out.
Well, we're not focused on the piece of it.
So we have at the high level, the world is, let me use vague terms, or she goes into the attic and sees a shimmering being and it makes her feel at peace. And I think we need some sort of middle ground just to show how the internal is also paralleling the external.
It was around, I know. This is not going to be great. 254. Okay, yeah, we can. Yeah,
we've got some wiggle room.
And a lot of that, and some of that 250. It's probably more like 230 with the crossouts gone. So I feel like I've told you what to do like 5 times now, so I'm not gonna do it again. Unless you want me to.
Unless you're confused, maybe we should stop.
Yeah.
Oh, it's also a romance. It's light sci-fi. Who is it? Romance with the alien, or is there another character?
There's no romance in this to this point. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude, but I do not sense this is a romance for this. There's no insertion of a character where I am given a reason to think that she wants to do anything with that character that would be.
You sound like Beetlejuice when you do that.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Okay,
bad thing. Okay, well, disturbing is a bad thing, so that's if
that's what you're going for,
I'm just pretty funny, okay? Because we sit here and tell people what they've done wrong. Okay, if you want that in the query, you have to put it there. You can't just say there's a romance, because I don't see it in the query. Like, there's just, I mean.
Is it a one-way romance, or is he also like?
Not touch. It's a romance with no touching. That's. Okay then.
They do not touch. But does he act like he is drawn to her as well?
Was
he drawn to her grief and wants to comfort her?
When he gives her peace, does she go back for the peace and also get the hots?
She trusts and lets down her guard and comes back night after night.
That could just be for the drug of happiness, though.
I mean, endorphins are endorphins.
I know, but there's romance and there's non-romance. But happiness can lead very easily to, yeah, I know. I get that. Oh, yeah, infatuation. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, which can lead to. No, I'm not going to do that.
Does she nickname the being, or does she just refer to him as?
I don't need to know more, Dave. You and your nouns.
I mean, we know where I sit with nouns.
Yes, you sit on them and in them and around them and them and their commas. Erica, did you need more stuff here, or are we good to go with this one?
And we see the lag between talking and
Was there
answering.
okay, that's so do you want to
Oh, okay. Aw, she goes for the peace and then
yeah, I was right. I was right.
Yeah.
So do you want to pick a one that's actually been gotten rep,
Yeah.
or you want me to? Go ahead, pick one from the database.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to say, Erica, she feels drawn is usually, one of those hinting at there may potentially be romance later phrases.
That or that concept, yeah. You need to introduce the elements you want to use in the stakes, like they have to be there.
Yeah. So.
And I'm not going to say more.
Not good.
Yeah.
But it.
From a mechanical perspective, like the fact that I didn't mark a whole bunch of stuff there, well, that's because I already did that in the previous, right? But
gotcha.
But like.
Okay, so where are we going next?
Go to the database and then pick one.
Sure.
I have several. A lot of the links are broken, but I fixed them in my compendium. It's a question of whether I can find them.
Okay. Does anybody have a genre or preference?
Oh, you have to wait for them to type.
I do. I know.
Yeah. I will note that many of these do not do everything I would do, and that's fine. We are pointing out things that work and things that we think don't, but ultimately you can have a really terrible query and get a full request.
Ooh.
Not that many, but go ahead, yeah.
And we're looking for successful queries. Am I looking at the right database?
That should be it. Some of these things, like the agency, especially the fantasy ones, is just not there at all. And that's interesting to me. But again, one agent is all it takes. And if you
I have a question before we get. Woo! Oh, I don't have an absolute right login, so.
I do. Give it to me the thing.
Okay, sure.
Or just give me the title of the thing because I can look.
Oh yeah, sure. We can do it that way. Or how about I just do a different one?
Whatever. I mean, there are not that many litfics in there though. So.
Okay, here we go. So before I bring this up, I did want to ask a question. I was talking with some other writers about commercial versus literary.
Yeah.
And they were acting like those were the only two options. And I didn't think that was it at all.
There's a thing I posted.
Means I can make a great movie out of it, and it's really high concept. And literary is, very.
I had something
that like
fund it because I found it. Carly Waters. This might be it. I hope it's it. I saw this. Here we go. I got it. Give me a second.
Okay.
It's in my this week's resources. I'm gonna send it to you. You can look at it there.
Sure.
Facebook.
I mean, I do genre fiction, and it's usually just.
Carly Waters did a thing, and I'm showing it to you. So you should.
Okay.
But that's not it.
Zoom in. So. This is for the story We. Oh, let me zoom in one more. Okay. So I think you can read that. Okay. 40-year-old Ben Arnold stands in front of a familiar refrigerator, staring at a picture he drew when he was a boy. This is the kitchen of his childhood home, a place he hasn't been for nearly 2 decades. Sorry, to me, literary fiction means middle-aged person dwelling on their youth. And I know that's not it. But
it is. It really is.
So a moment earlier, he was dying in a New York City hospital room alone, hopped up on a cocktail of pain medication and anti-anxiety drugs. In the kitchen, Ben no longer feels sick. Quite the opposite. He feels healthy and light, as if the concrete in his bones has been replaced by helium. But it is not until his mother, who he hasn't seen in 20 years, picks him up effortlessly that he realizes that his consciousness has been transported back from his failing adult body and deposited back into his 7-year-old self. Ben tries to talk, but he can't find a voice. He tries to move, but he does not control this body. Ben's consciousness is merely a hitchhiker, riding shotgun to Binky, as Ben was known as a child, and Binky wants Ben to leave now. Ben would love to escape, but he can't. When he discovers it is June 6, 1977, he knows why. Oh gosh. Okay. It is 3 days before his 17-year-old sister Sarah was raped by a gang of classmates. Horrified, Ben knows he must warn Sarah and stop the crime that destroyed his family. The only way to do that is to convince Binky to trust the voice inside his head. Easier said than done, given that Binky doesn't seem to like Ben much. But even if Ben manages to win over his younger self, is anyone going to believe a 7-year-old who claims to see the future? We, 70,000 Words, is a literary novel with a Twilight Zone twist that combines elements of The Lovely Bones and Being John Malkovich. Wow, comps that scream not for Morgan. As he struggles to coexist with his immature and naive younger self, Ben strives to simultaneously redeem his past and alter his future, discovering quite literally how difficult it is for our adult selves to come to grips with our childhood. My stories have appeared in 14 Hills, Fugue, blah, 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 blah. I'm an associate editor at blah, blah, blah. Per your guidelines, really? I've also included the first 3 chapters. Thank you for taking the time to review my query. Oh my God, there's so much I want to change about this.
Let's remember.
Not my genre. Not my genre. Calm.
Okay, so just let's understand something here. Hold on, let me find the book if I can. Books.
There were literally only 3 literary in the list that I was looking at.
So
at least an adult.
This is, been reviewed and praised, and it was published 8 years ago. And it won bronze in the Indie Fab Book of the Year Awards for general fiction. It was a finalist in Eric Hoffer Book Awards. So we don't need to change the query. We're just looking at it from, it's a lot of adult books do not start with the age. The reason this needs to is that it's going between 40 and 7. Getting the scene there of where he is shows us, instead of telling us, what's happening in the world. Okay. So that's good. We have stands, staring, drew, which is a solid trio of verbs to use. If we wanted to, we don't need to, but if we wanted to, we could show the kitchen part. But since we already sort of did that with the picture of him when he was a boy, we've already basically done that. We don't need to show him eating or anything in here. And if we did show him eating, we would have basically a dropped plot element in that we wouldn't be bringing up the kitchen again. So I think we're okay there. Then from there we go to the dying painkiller.
It is just 2 paragraphs, so it's not too wordy.
Well, you can have a lot of words in a paragraph, though.
Yeah.
The paragraph count is not really useful. I'll grab that stuff. Okay, the kitchen middle feels sick.
It's 422 words,
including the bio, yeah.
Yeah.
And the
yeah.
Then we have the.
But we do have the zoomed in. We have the specifics. We have the stakes.
Yeah.
And they're very clear.
We have it as a question.
I like about it.
The stakes as a question will be interesting because, although it's implied what happens if he doesn't succeed. I wanted to highlight something at the end of the first paragraph. From Ben until now, you look at the from Ben's consciousness. Okay, Ben's consciousness.
Sorry.
Yes. Okay. That you go from long sentence, shorter, and then one word. Okay. building that because
Pattern.
it's deliberate. I strongly suspect that he meant to increase the intensity, because is writing was known, not a whole lot happening there, because the strength of that first clause, consciousness and hitchhiker, right? Those are nouns. That de-escalates things a little bit, which is good because you're de-escalating his involvement in his life. He's watching. He's existing. There's not a whole lot going on when you're only existing. Riding shotgun to Binky, a little more. Shotgun is a bigger noun. Riding is more active. But the concept is passive because you're riding shotgun, you're not doing anything, you're just sitting there. And then you got the, again, existence as he was known. So there's not a lot. And then you hit us with that 6th word, and Binky wants Ben to leave. More happens there, even though it's inactive, really, than happens in the first sentence. Because you can tell nothing is going to happen. And you got the intensity of the now there to just really seal it.
Other than his mother picking him up, this is the first thing that's happened in this whole paragraph. Which is very literary and probably speaks to the voice of the story itself.
Yeah.
Which you want it to represent the story. You want the voice of the query to sound like, and it's got a very literary feel. You're setting the scene and you're describing all this stuff, and you wonder if there's ever going to be any action. And then you find out it's about a 40-year-old with regrets, and you say, oh, it's literary fiction. Sorry, I'll stop snarking any moment now.
Really?
But yeah, the next paragraph is just all stakes, building. And I love this method of, combining two different things, with a twist that combines elements of this and that. It's almost, but not quite as, I do like with this element from this thing and that element of this thing. But this is a great mix, and I can definitely see the being John Malkovich in it. And John Malkovich is like one of the few movies I've ever not finished.
Oh, okay, good to know.
It's not my genre.
I sort of started it, but it just didn't appeal to me at all. And so I'm like, you know what? I don't need to waste my time something I don't want to see, because I don't have to, it's not for a class. So
I have DNF'd, like, I can't remember another movie that I specifically just turned off and walked away from. There was one I wish I did, but I was at a watch party and I wasn't the one controlling the remote, and I just driven 2 hours to see these people, so I couldn't turn it off. But other than that, like,
see, there are a lot of books that I DNF'd after about the first page, because, like, okay, I know what this is doing, and it's not for me.
Okay.
So, yeah, a lot of them, a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I will DNF 10 books in 5 minutes.
Wow.
I see what they're doing, and this is not for me.
Yeah, that's totally fine. So it is midnight, unfortunately.
Yeah, which is when you disappear.
It is, in fact, when I disappear, because I have a day job and they want me at a meeting at 8 a.m. So
that should be illegal.
I know, and I should probably write my blog post and
I need to write my book before requisite 3 words a day to keep my streak going.
I hear you. So thank you to everyone who came. Thank you to everyone who was brave and shared their stuff, and even the braver ones who let us butcher it online for others' amusement. I would like to say we both offered up some of our own stuff, so we have been in the hot seat too.
Yeah, that was fun.
So
next time we're going paid. I said, remember?
Yeah, no, we did have that discussion.
Yeah.
So I'm excited,
and if anybody wants that, that'd be great. If they don't want to pay, then I don't know. We'll do something.
So thank you so much. Tell all your friends. Recommend us.
Your non-friends.
All useful and or entertaining.
Yes. I want to be useful and entertaining more. Useful. I want to help. I verbed it. I verbed. I want to help people.
Nice.
You gotta go.
So, you can find his group on on Facebook, and you can find us both on me on all the social medias
Everything.
and him on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
So thank you all for coming, and have a lovely week, and good luck with your queries and your synopses, and may the best verb win.
Yes.
I can be taught.